Hello, welcome to TCOMM-MONDAY, the Color of Me Movement Monday. My name is Dr. Nicola Felton. Many of you have watched the pilot, and thanks to you, I'm back again. So this is officially our first episode. So today's topic is parental empowerment. What kind of parent are you? Before we get started on the topic, I want to read something to you from the guidebook for the Color of Me movement. It's basically written from the voice of a child that may have a behavior or emotional disorder to their parent or caregiver or their therapist. So here we go. Find me. I'm powerless without your support. I strive to control my behavior and my surroundings, but I fall short of truly being me, who I want to be, who I'm destined to be. This thing strapped to my back, it's weighing me down, and I cannot control it. I cannot remove it or destroy it. It has become such a strong and forceful part of me that I am overwhelmed. I'm tired and hurt. If I am to break free and learn to thrive on my own, I need your help, your support, your way of loving me like no one else can do. I want you to get to know me, not who you see right now, but the true me inside. No one else enjoys hugs, loves to laugh, and have focus. I'm here, in here, not too deep so you can't find me, but deep enough that I feel like I've lost myself. I am here. If you think about that, you think about the voice of our children talking to us from deep inside of them, even though they can't verbalize what they're thinking or how they are feeling. This is where parents have the greatest struggle. And this is why the guidebook for the Color of Me movement was written. Sometimes we can't help our children because we don't know, because we don't understand, because someone either didn't take enough time to explain it to us or didn't take enough time to explain it to us again. The guidebook covers several disorders, behavioral and emotional disorders, focused on the child, any child between the age of 1 to 18. Anytime you're struggling as a parent to understand your child and you take them to a professional, you want information and feedback that's going to empower you, that's going to make you more knowledgeable. This is how you become the empowered parent. This is how you become the parent that can be encouraging and uplifting. This is how you learn to be patient. If you understand what's going on with your child, you have a better opportunity to practice patience, to practice mindfulness. And when you learn how to do it, can you think about such a great impact that you have on your children who are struggling and thinking and believing that no one understands them? What kind of parent are you? I recall watching a commercial, and it really was about the HPV virus for the kids getting the vaccination. And it's not about vaccination. That's a whole different topic. What I'm talking about is the impact that the children had in that particular video. Several of them went through it saying, "Did you know? Did you know, Mom? Did you know, Dad? If you had known, would you have done something differently?" Now that in itself, like I said, is about something totally different. But the words that the children are speaking is about anything and everything that refers to our children. In this particular case, it's behavior and emotional disorders. The children feel out of control. Parents feel out of control. Children get into a behavior. Parents get into a behavior with them. They can't share information going on throughout the behavior with the therapist when they go in to see them because they're overwhelmed. They're in the behavior themselves. But if they're more informed on triggers, causes for behavior and emotional outbursts and disorders, things that are going to help keep their children calm, things like not overstimulating them, things like food allergies, being mindful and aware of what is going on with your child is going to keep you proactive, That means you won't put your children in situations that you're not aware of, whether or not they have an allergy or whether or not that is something that's going to trigger them. But as you learn more about the disorder or the behavior and emotions, because you may have children that don't have a diagnosis for a disorder, but they have these behaviors, and you want to stop outbursts. You want to stop kicking and screaming and yelling in the stores. We want to do that. We want to do that not just for ourselves, not because we're embarrassed, but before our children. It takes a lot of energy to have this behavior that's acting out and feeling emotionally drained and out of control. And that is what today is all about. Let's learn how to be proactive parents. Let's learn how to be inspired. Let's learn how to be motivating to our children. What do we have to do? Well, we can go all over the internet, or we can ask a couple of people. If you've ever been that parent that went on Facebook because they had a question, and they put it in their group they thought was a good group, and you're either filled with a whole lot of feedback about, no, I think maybe you didn't make the right decision. Someone else thinking maybe you should do this. Someone says, oh, I think that was a very poor decision. Someone else says, maybe you're spending too much time on Facebook instead of spending time and paying attention to your child. Either way, you don't get the feedback that you need, because that's not the information that you need. You need real, live, good, solid information that's based on research, that's going to give you some feedback that's going to help you help your child. That's what it's all about. It's not about someone else's opinion of you as a parent, or whether or not you're good, bad, or indifferent in whatever behavior or choices that you made. We spend a lot of time on social media. And it's fine, because everyone wants to contact and stay in connection with their family members. I do the same thing, obviously. But when it comes time to understanding your child, understanding behaviors and emotions that they are struggling with, you really want information that's bound on fact and research for people who have done the work, and providing that information to you so that you can make a better decision and choices as it pertains to your children. So, if you're ready to be the best informed parent that you could be, motivated, encouraging to your child, and not have to get down and get into that disorder or that behavior when your child is having an outburst, to be the calm one, to be the one that can say, it's going to be okay, and then trust within yourself that it's truly going to be okay, because you can help make it that way. Now's the time to start talking about that. Now is the time to start doing something about that. We've already talked about journaling, and we talked about the two books that we have out already, which is Autism and ADHD, where you can actually go in and journal. It has question prompts in there to give you all the information that you need, so you can take that information and share it with your child's therapist or anyone on the treatment team, because you are now becoming a very good and proactive member of your child's treatment team. This is good. We talked about the workbook as well. Workbook gives you a lot of insightful information, to include the color wheel. If you watched the first pilot, we talked a little bit about that color wheel. We got a sneak peek into the color wheel to tell you what colors are going to have the best and most positive reactions, or interactions going on with your child, to help them be able to function better, to calm down if they need to calm down, to be more mindful if they need to be more mindful, to help them rest and relax. You have to find the right things that are going to work for your child. And that in itself is a work in progress, but it can be done. Taking your time to do it, knowing where to get the information, and going step by step to get it done. It can be done. And so we moved on to the bigger book that for some people, this is a really great book, and some people maybe not. I have a few therapists that are using the guidebook to pass on information to their parents of any children that they have with behavior and emotional disorders. What's great about this book is that it covers 9 different behavior and emotional disorders, to include disordered eating and giftedness with ADHD and ADD, as well as OCD. So we've got a lot of good things in here to cover and to go over, and we're going to hit on some of it today, and hopefully you will purchase the book yourself and go over more of it later. What is one of the most important things in this book is that it is a one size fits all. It breaks down the DSM So it's in terms that you can read, but it does have the research and information for which most of the information came from. You can go and read more in-depth information if that's what you want to do. But the purpose was for it to break it down so it'd be simple and easy enough to read. It still has questions in there that you can ask your therapist, questions for you to make sure you're giving the right information as well. But it's a good reference guide. It's also a book that you can pass on to other people for maybe your child struggles with different behaviors associated with ADHD, or someone else child may struggle with different behavior and emotions that are associated with autism, and you can still find it all in one book. You can pass it along. One thing that I want to talk about in here, just kind of show you like really quickly, at the end of each chapter, you'll see a section that says notes. So if there's anything that you think you may have missed, or that I have missed, or you want to ask questions, you can definitely come right here to YouTube, post a question at the bottom, or you can actually write me an email to nlhcw1@outlook.com, or you can go to my website, www.thecolorofmemovement.com, and send me a question. If it's something that's in the book you don't agree with, or that you don't understand, or you want clarified, or you just want a little bit more information, let me know. Something that I started last week that I'm extremely excited about, I had a couple parents, 3 of them to be exact, write me, and they're not here with me in the state of Indiana, but they're in other states across the United States, and they wanted to know if I knew of any places that I could refer them to help their children while they work through this book. And absolutely, not only did I get right on it and start sending them recommendations, I went ahead and wrote the treatment facility to let them know so that we can start putting them on the website. So you can actually go to there for anyone within your state, and hopefully even closer, like within your city or your county, and that you can get help there. And they can use the Color Me movement techniques as well. So that was very exciting to do that. Something that I hadn't thought about, but obviously people need it. And that's what I want. I want you to be able to ask me questions, and I want to be able to give you answers. If it's anything within my ability to do, I'm going to make sure that you either get it or I get you in connection with a person that can help you. So absolutely, if you need some connections or someone to work with that's in your area, just let me know. Just another little tidbit on there. So another thing that's in the book, as you go through the chapters, I've already shown you where you can write notes, but there's another section that I think is very important. Say if there's an area that you're reading in the book and you think, oh, that's very interesting, and you kind of want to remember that because that's something important that stood out. Or perhaps there's something in there that may stand out to you or may not. Let's say it doesn't, but it actually is important. So what I've done at the end of each chapter, I've also written this area called what I need to remember. So it's kind of like your summary. So if you read it all, you've gone through it, might have been a little bit much to take in, you still get a summary at the end of the chapter to tell you a little bit more about what you need to cover. And this book is all about parental empowerment. This is all about giving you an opportunity to be prepared to be an advocate for your child, to be an essential member of your child's treatment team, and to help your child when they're acting out behavior and emotions, or they're just overwhelmed. What I find to be the most fascinating part about being informed about different behavior and emotional disorders that our children are going through is that once they realize that we understand what they're going through, we become that person that they come to, that they can talk to. Oftentimes we go into a therapist's office, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this last week, and our child has a behavioral emotion at home, and we're in the therapist office and we're sharing that information, and the therapist spends 45 minutes to an hour with the child. None of those behaviors or emotions show up. They don't come out. I don't know if the child is being on their best behavior or they're just being mindful of their surroundings, but here's the deal. If you can explain to the child and they can understand just in your actions and the way you're reacting to them and responding to them and helping them stay calm, they will be more apt to open up and share information with you. And when they go in and talk to the therapist, they won't be embarrassed and they won't try hard to stop that behavior and emotions, because they know when they display them, then they're showing the therapist what they're struggling with so the therapist can help them. They will trust the therapist more and they will trust you more. You, the therapist, become a team for them. So if your child is not in a situation where you actually have a full treatment team, like you have psychiatrists where you're getting medication, they're seeing a therapist or a psychotherapist, or they're seeing a life coach of some sort, if they only have one person that they're working with, they need another person on that team. That's why it's called a team. And that would be their parent or their caregiver. And that is what's so exciting. It's not really about you and what you're learning, but it's about what you can show your child, what you are willing to do for them. And that is learn anything and everything about their particular issue and how you can help them. And hopefully, as you learn more and you share with them that you know more, they will open up and they will tell you, well, that necessarily doesn't apply to me. And they may not use them in those terms, but they'll explain, to use whatever way that they know how to let you know that, no, this is the issue that I'm having. And so you can focus on specifically what is going on with your child. And nothing can be more motivating and more encouraging than that. That helps you have better days, helps them have better school days, helps you have better nights, helps the parents and any caregivers and other family members that may be impacted by your child's behavior, especially when they feel out of control and they're overwhelmed and they really can't stop themselves from doing anything. Anyone else that is impacted by that will feel a lot better, and you can educate everyone else in the family as well. When we know what's going on and we really truly understand it without dismissing it and saying, oh, well, that person just has this, and this going on. When we can explain it, then people can understand and they can help you. And you won't have the situations where you're so overwhelmed because your child may have a behavior at a family picnic or a family reunion or any other social situations where you're out in public and you've got to be concerned about them and how they feel and how they're going to react to certain things, because you will be aware of their triggers. You'll be aware of any food allergies. You'll be aware of any colors that are overstimulating them or any colors that could really be healthy for them. It is important to really get to know your child, get to understand their behavior and emotions, being able to have a healthy communication dialogue with a therapist or any other treatment team member, because you understand the language just a little bit more. And that is why the Color of Me movement, this guidebook, it's so important. It will give you all the basic information you need to ensure that your therapist or the child's therapist understands that you understand. That is the most important thing. Oftentimes, we're very, very confused about what's going on with our child, and we're overwhelmed by it. And sometimes we have other children as well that may or may not have other behavior, emotion disorders or something else going on. Even just regular things, a new boyfriend or broken up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or just having issues, struggling with different courses at school. Any reasons that we have to spend, take time to spend time with our children and giving them the attention that they need. It takes away from children that are struggling. And sometimes one or the other kid may not understand that. But if you're understanding what's going on, if you have to spend time with one child or the other more because they're going through something or they need to deal with something, you'll also be, informed, so you can help them understand what you're going through as well. It's kind of learning to speak their language in a way that they understand it and they know that you are really caring and concerned about what's going on with them. And obviously, we know that you are. I don't think you would even be here if you weren't. But the point of it is being concerned, yes. Understanding, something totally different. Because I don't want parents to worry either. I don't want you to be so overly worried about your child because they're going through something that you cannot help them with. You can always help your child. You just have to have the information that you need to be more informed. And that's what it's all about. So you ask yourself, what kind of parent am I? Am I one who is going to sit down and talk to the therapist and get the information that I need? Am I going to be one who is going to ask questions of the therapist based on the information and feedback that they give me if I don't understand it? Am I going to verify that what I understand, what I think I understand, is actually that? Am I going to ask questions if I get home later and I find out the behavior or emotion that the therapist was saying my child was displaying, or the disorder that they were suffering from, based on what I've read and researched and understood, doesn't quite fit? Am I going to go and ask questions? Can you just re-explain this to me again? Because I'm seeing this, this, and this. Because your therapist may not, the child's therapist may not have seen or witnessed those things that you've witnessed. They may not have seen those behaviors at all. Like I said, sometimes it's different when you actually go to the therapist office versus when you're at home. And you want to make sure that everyone is on the same page. So be that parent to ask that question. That's not challenging them. That's not saying it's not the diagnosis you diagnosed. Just saying that I don't see these behaviors. And maybe they can explain to you where they did. Maybe you can sit in on some more sessions, especially if you have a situation where your child is participating in play therapy or art therapy. Maybe you can sit in. Maybe at some point you can even participate. Learn how to work with your child when your child is not at the therapist office, when your child is at home, when you really want to be able to see behavior change, positive, healthy behavior changes. You could be the parent who has the information and still let everyone else do all the work, and you make sure that your child is as grounded as they can possibly be without being involved in a therapeutic process. You could be that parent, but it's still important to be very, very informed. And once you are informed, I don't think you're going to help, but want to be involved in the therapeutic process, understanding what's going on, how you can help your child. It's all about the children. It's always been all about the children. So, what are we going to do now going forward? We have all the books. Everything's all laid out. Now it's time to be able to say, now I understand more of what's going on with my child. I can help make healthier decisions, and my child could be healthier and happier. As time goes by, there are going to be some new things that come up. And guess what you do? You read more, learn more, you ask more questions, you become more informed. Being an informed parent is more important than anything else you could possibly do when it comes to being a parent. This is not asking questions about everyone else. It's reading and understanding for yourself. Asking questions of those people who can actually give you good, solid answers. These are not the questions you want to put on your Facebook page. These are not the questions you want to put on your Facebook group. If you want to get opinions, that's fine. I think it's awesome that you can get opinions. But make sure when it comes to dealing with your child and giving them the best support and feedback that you can, be informed. Be the informed parent. Ask yourself, what kind of parent am I? Thank you for joining us today. I'm looking forward to speaking with you again next week. Remember, you can write me, nlhcw1@outlook.com. You can also go to my website, www.thecolorofmemovement.com. And as a special note, anyone who has watched the video, if you're interested in purchasing any of the books on the website, write me. I'll get the books to you for a 30% discount. I will see you next week. Thank you for joining us.